Hey everybody, Chef Tovia here. I'm going to show you guys how to make not your average French onion soup. It's going to be full of meat and full of flavor and absolutely delicious. If you don't want to use meat for this recipe, you can leave it out. And if you want to make it vegan, you can use a vegetarian or vegan broth. Please note that you can find all the ingredients you'll need for today's recipe in the description box on this video. And please subscribe to my channel with notifications for uploads on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to begin with our GeekChef pressure cooker here, and we're going to begin on Saute. So to utilize the Saute function, we're going to hit the Saute button, and this screen here is indicate the time and the temp. So I'm going to hit the time and temp button and change it to 30 minutes, and then I'm going to hit the time temp button again and change it to 390, and then let go. You'll hear a click, and you hear the beep and the click, and that lets you know that it is on the saute function. So I'm going to use some olive oil, and if you are one of those people who are afraid of olive oil because of reading false articles online, then use another type of oil. But I'm going to stick with olive oil because I like it. And this is a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, and I have here some country beef ribs that I just sliced, and I sliced it against the grain, and this beef is at room temperature. So I'm gonna put in half of that beef, and I'm gonna sear the outsides of it. So I'm gonna just move this around a little bit, and I'm gonna allow this to sit and allow it to sear. So I'm gonna let it sit for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna give everything a flip, just to give it a little bit of color. It doesn't have to be perfectly seared. So our beef has nice color to it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfectly seared. I just want to give it a little bit of color. So I'm going to just take a slotted spoon here and just remove the beef out and put it into a bowl, and I'm going to saute the remaining beef. So the reason why I am sauteing it in small batches is because if you put all that beef in there one time, it's going to drop the temperature and it's not going to sear. So my beef here has a nice sear. I'm going to add the remaining beef back to the pot. Then I'm going to sprinkle it with just a little bit of salt, not too much, some black pepper. Now if you want to use beef stock, you could, but because I want this recipe to be easy, we're going to use bouillon. So I'm going to add my water to that. I'm going to add my bouillon cube and give everything a stir. Make sure everything is well dissolved. After stirring everything together, I'm going to cover. And then I'm going to make sure the pressure valve is closed here. And if your pressure cooker is still on the saute function, which it should be, I'm going to hit the cancel button. And then I'm going to hit the meat stew button, and then I'm going to let that stew for 15 minutes. So I just push the button, let go, it'll automatically come on, it will come up to pressure, and once it comes up to pressure, it will cook, and then we will release the pressure. Okay, so it's done. So that way you guys can see. Hit the pressure release valve, and we'll be back. I have an extra pot here from another pressure cooker I don't use, and we're going to put it back on saute function. So I showed you guys how to do that before. So we're going to put it in a saute function for 30 minutes at 390 degrees. Olive oil to the bottom of my pot here. And also I'm going to add some butter. Everything's nice and hot, and then I have here my onions that I've sliced up. I slice it into half moons. And I'm going to allow this to sit here. I'm not going to disturb it. I'm going to allow this to sit for about 6 minutes, and then I'm going to give everything a stir. So we'll be back in 6 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to give everything a stir. And you see it's starting to get nice color. I didn't turn the temperature down or anything. So now I'm going to let this sit again for another 5 minutes or so. But I'm going to watch it. If I think it needs to be stirred, I'm going to give it a stir. So we're going to stir this about every 5 minutes until it's been about 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. So I'm going to add my flour Just give everything a stir. Then I'm going to pour over my broth with the beef in there. Now, if you want to keep this meatless, you can just omit the beef part and just follow the same steps, and you can just use some beef stock to pour it over. So I'm going to give everything a stir. A little bit of brown sugar. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, just a touch of salt. I'm going to add thyme to this. Give this a stir. Then I'm going to put the lid on, and then we're going to pressure cook this for 5 minutes using the soup function. So I got the pressure valve closed, and then I'm going to hit the cancel button. Then I'm going to pressure cook this. We're going to pressure cook this on the bean chili setting for 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, we'll be back. Make sure your pressure valves are closed. I have some French bread here, and I'm using a serrated knife, and I'm slicing it about 1 inch thick. And when you use a serrated knife, it really helps with slicing bread, so your bread doesn't get smushed, because these edges grab onto the bread when you slice it. I'm slicing it about at an angle here. Then I have a parchment lined baking tray. Gonna place all my bread on top of that. And this is to actually make the croutons for the soup. And I'm going to drizzle the top with a little bit of olive oil. I'm using extra virgin here. Just give it a nice drizzle. And then I'm going to stick this in a preheated 400-degree oven. I'm going to let this bake for about 10 minutes. I just want to get this nice and toasty. So our soup is done. I'm going to release the pressure. Most of it's already been released because I had it sitting for a while. So all the pressure is released. And look at that soup. It looks really amazing. I'm going to give everything a stir. So what we're going to do is put some of our soup in our soup bowls here. I use my ladle here to ladle it in the bowl. And I have my croutons that are out of the oven. My croutons are here. And then I'm going to place a crouton on top of the soup. And then I'm going to sprinkle the top with some Mozarella cheese. And then I'm going to put this on my baking tray, and the oven's on broil. And I'm going to broil this in the oven for 5 minutes or so, just until the tops get nice and golden brown and bubbly. But we don't want to burn anything. Here is our soup. I have this really cool soup bowl that I found. I'll show you guys. Of the Marvel Comics. But this soup it smells amazing. I can't wait to give this a try. But yes, this is a really cool soup bowl. For you guys out there who are into Marvel Comics. So I'm going to give this a taste. Please don't forget to rate and leave a comment. Please subscribe to my channel as well. Oh my goodness, look at all of that. So cheesy and gooey. This is so good. Please guys, try this recipe. It's really amazing. It's worth making as it's getting cold here in America. So guys, please try this recipe. Add this video to your playlist. Please don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and please